Tarron breached the hull from space and entered the vessel. His task force had struggled to disable the rogue ship, only succeeding via his overwhelming use of magic. The skirmish had completely drained him of his stamina and energy, making him consume the remains of what little enchanted stims and potions he had left. Upon leaving the vacuum of space, the vessel's automatic emergency systems went to work. With a light crack and a violent snap at its completion, a force field appeared over the hole in the hull. The sphere of water that contained his previous supply of air returned to the base of his body, forming a bowl shape around him. The water that he magically maintained around him had become ice cold from the exposure to space. He fought back the habit of expelling his magical energy to reheat the water to a comfortable temperature. Unknown what was ahead, all of his energy had to be conserved. After all, what to expect of a rogue machine Baron ship was on all levels undeterminable. Other than a basic original layout, what information the machine barons provided may have been considered obsolete at any time due to the flexibility of their internal systems. Stealing one was impossible, thus the consensus is a traitor. The machine barons, having expended their efforts rebuilding civilization after the Great Silence and subsequent wars, had hired Tarron and his team to retrieve the ship, knowing full well that something was extremely wrong. They needed someone with great talent and experience. In a galaxy of little resources and extensive danger, this was an exceptional task. The price was negotiated to an extreme. If able to successfully retrieve the ship, he could keep it. A spacefaring vessel filled with salvage technologies no longer able to be reproduced. He could not resist. Within seconds of splashing on the ground, several points in the ceiling ahead of him clicked and vibrated to the hum of electronical motors engaging. Panels retracted, turrets lowered down, exposing platforms containing a variety of weapons. Immediately they started to train themselves towards Tarron. However, he was already on the move, forming several ice shards from the water encompassing him. They immediately shot out at high speed towards the turrets hanging overhead, impacting hard, sending broken metal, flames, and steam down the corridor he was in. The steam wafted quickly back towards him, rejoining the water that pooled under him. Anyone on board would know about his presence now. Levitating slightly off the ground, he flew at full speed towards the ship's AI core. His only chance to permanently gain control of the ship was to shut down its AI network. He sped through the corridor and junctions at such speed that each pop-out turret in the ceiling had already lost their target by the time he had passed. The first major facility in the ship he encountered was a drone fighter bay. He had hoped to perhaps reprogram some drones on the fly to join his forces outside. However, it would have appeared that they were all destroyed in the battle prior to his entry to the ship, as the bay was empty. Great machines along the side of the hangar and spine of the ship were active. Large red-hot materials sat in smelting tubs and sparks emanated from them as robotic arms and peripherals worked around it. He determined nothing could be achieved here. The ship was already producing more fighters, something that his remaining forces outside were in no condition to deal with. He had to hurry. The AI core was the next facility over. He flew past quickly and entered the next corridor. As he passed the first junction connecting, he noticed in the corner of his eye someone standing right against the wall inside an adjoining corridor to the junction. In the split second he noticed the individual, he realized his determination to be swift at the expense of caution had just cost him dearly. In that split second, Tarron was engulfed in a ball of unrefined plasma. Subconsciously creating a magical ward with the use of his accompanying water, the heat and force engulfed him. Lifting off his path at speed, he hit the side of the wall and ricocheted into the floor. He rolled and slid some distance down the corridor, and he crashed into a closed door, spikes first. Heavily dazed, he did not realize the distance he had traveled. He had passed the access to the AI core, and now he was cut off. He regained his composure, but his adversary had already chased him down. The machine stood in front of him, with deadly stillness. Small digital lights flickered along his spikes as the ship's internal systems hummed to his thoughts. Tarron got up off the floor. He inspected the damage to his fins and spikes and sighed in relief. Nothing broken. The machine spoke, his synthesized voice emanating from an unseen speaker.
You bump of flesh!
The sound vibrating across the bent plating around the door.
You seek answers to your existence. Why? How? When?
Tarron summoned his water back to him. It slithered from behind his adversary like a small stream and started to reform around him, its touch sending a shiver down his back as he immediately started to use it to heal his injuries.
We, the Machine Lords, consider you all fools. Your quests are akin to flesh-eating glass. Purposeless, self-destructive, childish. Remove your worldly desires, your flesh, your possessions. Become a machine. Live forever. Even when you die, it matters not. When you can keep nothing, have nothing, and need nothing.